Hello friends, welcome to the operating systems session. Friends, this is an introductory session. So in this session you are going to learn about the definition of operating system, its basic functionality and the introductory concepts about the operating system. So you all know that operating system is one of the software which is located in every computer, laptop or mobile phone. Normally you see all these things. Let me list out some operating systems which normally we used to work with. The most used operating system in our college or in our regular offices or institutes is the Microsoft developed Windows operating system. Apart from this operating system, there are so many other systems, something like Linux, Ubuntu. In the Linux we have different kinds. Normally they have been called as the flavors or the dialects. The Ubuntu, the Fedora, the CentOS, and like that there are so many other operating systems. Coming to other kinds, we have the Mac operating system, the Macintosh operating system. So prior to Linux we have the Unix operating system. Now let us know what exactly the operating system is going to work in your system, why it has been kept in your system. An operating system is a program that manages the computer hardware. That means when you switch on a phone or when you switch on a computer, if there is no operating system, you never going to speak with the hardware. A human cannot understand the language of the hardware. So operating system is the basic program or the kind of program that understands the language of hardware. So without operating system, your laptop, your computer, your any other PC will not work, will not understand whatever the human is going to say with the hardware. So extending the same statement, we can define it as operating system is a software that is acting as an intermediary between user and hardware. So this is the basic definition of operating system. So that means operating system is a software program. So don't assume that it is in a hardware. OS is a software, system software, and that is going to work as an intermediary between the user and the hardware. If there is no operating system, user cannot work with the hardware. So that's why it is very important to know about how operating system has been built and what are the concepts included with the operating system. And learning operating system or understanding the underlying concepts of operating system in the initial stages is not easy. But when the open source movement has been occurred somewhere in 1980s or 1990s or 2000, so when the open source movement has been occurred, people started trying to understand the basic concepts of operating systems, how they have been built. Then they started working out in redesigning that operating system to make it more viable for the user. See, an amazing aspect of operating system is how different they are in accomplishing their tasks. For example, your operating system, if you try to say print a statement or print something to the printer, your operating system will do that. If you ask your operating system to do some computation, your operating system will take that command and make the job done. If you write any mail to your friend, your operating system take the responsibility of delivering that mail to your friend. See how varied these accomplishing tasks. So we can say that the operating system are primarily designed to be convenient. That means the operating system are basically designed for creating an environment in such a way that your job can be done in an efficient manner. So normally some operating systems are more or less designed to be convenient, and some operating systems are designed to be more efficient, and some operating systems you can see something like they are both of the combination of these two. So in this session we try to see a general overview of major components of operating system. Let us try to begin our discussion what exactly operating systems do. Prior to that, let us try to know how a computer system has been divided. A computer system can be divided roughly into 4 components. What are they? The first component is the hardware component, and above that component the operating system, and on the top the application programs, and over the ultimate top is the user. You can look at the picture. In the picture you can see the 4 components. This is the basic question normally you getting in the examinations also. What are the 4 components in a computer system? The basic component is the computer hardware. After that the operating system, and operating system is in between the system programs and the application programs, and user is working with the system through the application programs. What are the application programs? They are the compilers, assemblers, text editors, the databases, whatnot. There are so many application programs. So this is the 4 components in a typical computer system. Now let us go in little bit detail about these 4 components. The first component obviously is the hardware. Again, it is having sub-components. What are they? The central processing unit, the memory, and the input-output devices. So these 3 make it as the hardware, or these are the primary sub-components of the hardware. What exactly they provide? They provide the basic computing resources for the system. CPU is the basic computer resource, because without CPU you cannot do any computation. Without CPU you cannot do any computation. Without memory you cannot store any information. And without the input-output device you cannot speak with the external devices. So these 3 are the major sub-components in the hardware. What are they? The central processing unit, the memory, and the input-output devices. So these 3 assemble make the hardware, right? And what are these things provide? They provide the basic computing resources for the system. And after that we have seen the application programs. What are the application programs? The application programs are the word processors, spreadsheets, compilers, web browsers. See, your word processor, your MS Office is one of the application program. Okay, your C program or C compiler or the Java compiler is one of the system program or application program. You are working with the web browser like the Mozilla Firefox or the Google Chrome. There are so many other web browsers. All these things comes to the application programs. So these are just for information, but you have n number of application programs installed in your system, and these application programs define the ways in which these resources are used to solve users' computing problems. See, these application programs, what they are doing, they try to take the help of the hardware to accomplish user intended tasks. So that is the basic definition. The operating system controls the hardware And what exactly it is doing? Yeah, the operating system controls the hardware and also coordinates it. Operating system controls as well as coordinates it among the various application programs for various users. So this is the thing you have to keep in mind. So operating system, it is trying to control the hardware. At the same time, it is trying to coordinate with the hardware, and it is going to help you, or it is going to help the user through various application programs. So that is the basic motto of this session. And we can also see that the operating system provides the means for proper use of these resources in the operation of the computer system. So that means we can understand that operating system is acting as a mean. Mean means something like a helper. So operating system is acting like a helper for the user operations using the hardware. So we can simply say that an operating system is similar to a government. You have to remember this point, it's a very important point. An operating system is similar to a government. Like a government, it performs no useful function by itself. See, government is not doing for itself. Rather, government is always trying to create an environment such that you can do the jobs efficiently, comfortably. So, we can say that operating system is like a government which it performs no useful function by itself. It is not intended for itself. Rather, it simply provides an environment within which other programs can do useful work. That is a basic motto. So, operating system is something like it is working as a government. So, it is not intended for itself. Rather, it is trying to create an environment in which other programs can be efficiently executed or efficiently worked with. So extending the definition, we can also say that operating system is one program running at all times on the computer. Yeah, you have to agree this statement, because without the operating system, you cannot even switch on the computer, or you cannot even switch on the mobile phone. And is there any program which is running in the computer system at all times? Then I can say that that's the operating system. So operating system is the one program running at all times on your computer. Because if operating system is not running or operating system is not working at any instance, assume that your system is going to be dead state. So we call that operating system the module or the block of software or the piece of software which is executing in the computer is called kernel. K-E-R-N-E-L. Normally, you can get a question in interviews or any entrance examinations. So, what is the other name for operating system, or what is the module of operating system which is executing at all times? We have to call it as the kernel. Along with the kernel, we have two other types of programs. They are one, the system programs. The second kind is the application programs. System programs are associated with the operating system but not a part of a kernel. So you have to remember this one. See, system programs are associated. They are coordinating with the kernel, or they are coordinating with the operating system, but they are not the part of the operating system. Also, application programs are the programs developed by the user, or application programs are the programs intended for the users, and user tries to communicate with the system or user tries to communicate with the operating system through the application program. So you have to remember this one. So apart from operating system, you have two other programs. First one is the system program. Normally the compilers, the loaders, linkers, debuggers, macros. So web browsers, all these are system programs. Okay. And apart from that, you have the application programs like your MS Office, your web browsers, and you have so many other softwares installed in your system. So application programs are the programs which directly communicates with the user and they speak with the operating systems. At the same time, system programs directly communicates with the operating system and they have their own intended specified tasks. Right. Let us try to understand the computer system organization. Here is the picture. In the picture you can identify that there are some components or there are some major subsystems within a computer system. The first subsystem is the CPU. As we have learned just now, that CPU itself contains, or CPU normally we call it as the central processing unit. So CPU is basically used for computations. And in the computer system we have another part. Without memory unit you can never store the information or the data. Apart from these two, the CPU and the memory, we have other components like the disk controllers. So don't be confused. Disk controller means it is a hardware unit or it is a hardware component which is trying to coordinate with your hard disk or floppy disk or any other disk. So disk controller means it is a hardware component. Normally we can see you have a hard disk in your computer, means that hard disk has been associated with a disk controller. That means it's a small chip, something like it is a brain of the disk controller where it can communicate with the computer. Assume like that, right? So we have what are the components? CPU, the memory, and the third one is the disk controller. And apart from that, we have other components. What are those? The mouse we can see, the keyboard we can usually see, the printer. At the same time, without monitor, we never know what exactly happening inside the computer. So these are the basic components which we see, or as a user which we see. What are those? Just try to recall. The first basic component is the CPU or the central processing unit. The second component is the memory component, and the third component is the disk controller. Again, it is a hardware component. It is going to associate with several disks in a system. And the next component is the USB controller, or right now all these, the mouse, the keyboard, the printer, the monitor, all these coming with the USB controller. So USB controller itself is another hardware component. Okay, and the last component is the monitor or the output device. Normally it is having a graphics adapter. And let us try to see how a system, when you power on a system, what exactly been going on in a computer system. See, I just came inside, or any one of you have switched on the computer system. What exactly happening? It is very important to understand or to know about this one. So when it is powered up or rebooted, when you have powered on a computer system, what happens? Yeah, an initial program will run. What is that initial program? This initial program is called as the bootstrap program. Just try to write down the spelling for that. Boot, B-O-O-T, boot, S-T-R-A-P. the Bootstrap program. So Bootstrap program is the first program executes when you power on a system. Okay. So normally where that Bootstrap program will reside? Friends, don't be confused. So remember that if you power off the system, all the data will be lost from your memory, from your main memory. So if you keep the operating system, or if you keep that Bootstrap program in the main memory, and if you have powered off, once you powered on, the data will be lost. So therefore, the manufacturers, what they do, they try to keep another small memory within your computer, and we call it as the ROM, R-O-M, ROM. That is called read-only memory. Okay, so ROM contains a simple piece of code which triggers to initiate and execute this Bootstrap program. I remind you that ROM contains some basic instructions, or ROM is a small storage which is not being intended to erase, rather it is having some permanent storage. So ROM contains some basic instructions, and these instructions are going to trigger the initiation and execution of the operating system. That's why when you power on a computer system, so the first step is your ROM will initiate some basic instructions to execute the operating system. Once the operating system is loaded into the main memory and it is perfectly executed, then operating system will take the control, the superior control of the computer system. So that is the basic or the underlying understanding of the Bootstrap program. Now you have to understand why the name Bootstrap. Bootstrap means boot, means wearing a shoe. That means you're going to start some task. So this is the first task. What is that? The Bootstrap is the program resides in, where it is resided? In the ROM, the read-only memory. And what is the ROM? ROM is a memory unit, an extra memory unit, which normally been associated in the computer or in the mobile phone or in any electronic device, and it contains the basic set of instructions. Who has kept that? The manufacturer has kept that. Nobody has kept it. The manufacturer has kept those instructions, and once you start the system, the instructions will be triggered, and these instructions will initiate and execute the operating system. Operating system, where it is located? Operating system has been located in the secondary storage device or any other location. But manufacturer knows, or the instructions knows, where the operating system is going to be resided in the storage. So based upon the address, it is trying to execute the operating system program. Once the program gets into the running state, now operating system has entered into the picture. It is taking the control, the complete control of the computer or your mobile phone. So Bootstrap program is the program normally stored in the read-only memory. Okay, and it is also called as the firmware, F-I-R-M-W-A-R-E. The firmware means it is the ware, or it is the program given by the manufacturer within the computer hardware. What exactly it is doing? It initializes all aspects of the system, from CPU registers to device controllers to memory contents. See, it is doing everything, or it is trying to gain the superior control right from the CPU registers through the device controllers through the memory contents. The Bootstrap program must also know how to load the operating system. That's what I'm saying. So the Bootstrap program also knows how to load the operating system and how to make it executed. Or it also knows how to start the operating system. For example, in your home, if you switch on your system and if the operating system is not going to be loaded, so first you have to think that your system is working fine. So try to replace the ROM chip. Probably the ROM chip might be erased, or probably there is an technical issue with the ROM. So that is the first thing you have to check. If the ROM is okay, then you have to reinstall the operating system, or you have to check for any other hardware issues. So friends, the Bootstrap program means it is the first program which is executed in your computer system, and it is also called as the firmware because it is being provided by the manufacturer. And whenever anything has been conveyed by the user or anything has been conveyed by the operating system to the hardware, these things or these events will be communicated in the form of interrupt. Remember this one. So when anything has been conveyed by the user to the system or by the system to the user, so these signals are being conveyed in the form of interrupt. That means the occurrence of any event is usually signaled by an interrupt either from hardware or from software. Hardware may trigger any interrupt at any time. So that means the CPU may interrupt anything, or the memory unit may be interrupted by any other component. So these are called the hardware interrupts. If interrupt has been triggered with respect to the operating system, then they are the soft interrupts or software interrupts, and these interrupts are called as system call or monitor call. So you have to remember this point. If you have an interrupt with respect to hardware, then call it as the hardware interrupt, whether you work with CPU or memory or any register. So those are all interrupts or hardware interrupts. If any interrupt or any signal has been triggered with respect to the software, then call it as the system call or the monitor call. So friends, the word system call will be used throughout the operating system, or it can be used in any other subjects also. The definition is same, the concept is same. You have to remember this one. So if the software has triggered any interrupt executing a special operation, then call it as a system call. System means the operating system. Okay, or you can call it as the monitor call. So this is the second name for the operating system. So in some interviews, one may put a question, what is the other name for system call? Don't be confused, that is called the monitor call, because operating system is also monitoring everything in your computer. So that's why operating system is also being referred as the monitor, and the call created by the operating system or the call associated with the operating system is called the system call or the monitor call. Let us try to understand this picture. See, in your system you have the CPU and you have various IO devices. Okay, for example, your CPU is doing some job, assume like that. So your CPU is doing some job, and in between the system has got an input output request. Okay, so your CPU is doing some job, and in between your system is going to get an input output request. Then so this is something like an interrupt, correct or not? Right. So this is something like an interrupt. So it is being interrupted. then what exactly is been going on? Okay, that interrupt has been taken, and in the initial time the IO device is idle. Okay, and since the interrupt has been triggered, it took some time to address to the interrupt. Then the IO transferring has been going on. You can see the picture. There are two timelines. See the down timeline, the bottom down timeline. In the bottom timeline, you can see that initially the IO device is in idle state. Okay. Once the IO request or once the interrupt has been triggered, now the data is in the transferring mode. Okay. So for transferring the IO, there is no need for the CPU to hold for that. So CPU is going for that job. But once the IO transfer has been done, that should be informed by the CPU. Correct or not? Okay. So CPU has took some time to address that issue. Again, it went back to some other job. So IO has been kept idle at the same time. After some time, again we have got IO request. Then, so to address that issue, it took a minimum time. So the IO transferring has been going on. So once the IO transfer has been done, it is being intimated to the CPU. CPU took some time to adjust that, and again CPU get back to its original work. So this is a simple diagram to understand the interrupt timeline for a single process doing output. So that means when you say a job is going on or task is going on in a computer, you can assume that the task has been a proper mixture of some CPU computations and some input-output communications. So the input-output communications has been done by the input devices and the input-output controllers. At the same time, the actual computations will be monitored or done by the CPU. Okay friends, in this session, let's have a brief outlook what we have discussed right now, up to now. In this session, we have gone through the basic need for the operating system, its definition, and we have gone through the computer system architecture, and we have also understood about the bootstrap program, and we have also understood about in a computer program or in a computer task, normally it is a combination of some input-output job. At the same time, it is also having some CPU job. CPU job is being done by the CPU. Input-output job has been done by the input-output processor. At the same time, input-output devices. That's all friends. We'll try to meet in the next session with another concepts of operating system. Thank you.